Tonight, we journey into a story of silence, courage, and destiny. A story hidden between palace walls, where whispers carried the weight of life and death, where a young woman, chosen as queen, would face a moment that could cost her everything, her life, or her people. This is not just a story of royalty, it is a story of purpose, a story of divine timing, a story that reminds us that sometimes you are placed exactly where you are meant to be, for a reason greater than yourself. Welcome to Bible Tales by Moonlight. Tonight's story, the untold story of Queen Esther. In the vast and powerful kingdom of Persia, ruled by King Xerxes, there was a celebration unlike any other. For 180 days, the king displayed his wealth, his power, his glory. And at the height of it all, a royal banquet was held. Wine flowed freely, music filled the halls, and in a moment of pride, the king made a request. He called for Queen Vashti. He wanted her to appear before his guests, to display her beauty. But something unexpected happened. She refused. A queen, defying a king. The room fell silent. The king's pride was wounded, his anger burned, and by the counsel of his advisers, Queen Vashti was removed. Just like that. The throne stood empty, and across the empire a search began for a new queen. Far from the palace, in a quiet part of the kingdom, lived a young girl named Esther. She was an orphan. No father, no mother, only her cousin, Mordecai, who had taken her in as his own daughter. Life was simple, quiet, unremarkable. But Esther carried something rare, a quiet strength, a gentle spirit, and a beauty that did not shout, but drew attention. Then, one day, soldiers arrived, a royal decree. Young women were to be taken to the palace, chosen to be presented before the king. Esther was among them before she left. Mordecai spoke carefully. "Do not reveal who you are. Do not tell them your people." Esther listened. She trusted him, but deep inside, she must have wondered. Why? The palace was unlike anything Esther had ever seen. Gold-lined halls, perfumed chambers, servants everywhere. For months, the women were prepared, treated with oils, trained in royal customs, refined for one purpose, to meet the king. Some tried too hard, others competed, but Esther remained different. She listened, she observed, she stayed humble, and somehow that set her apart. When her time came, she chose simplicity, no excess, no pretense. And when she stood before the king, something changed. Out of all the women in the empire, he chose her. The orphan became queen. In the same kingdom, a man rose to power. His name was Haman. He was second only to the king, and he loved honor. He demanded respect. The king commanded that all should bow before him, and everywhere he went, people bowed, except one man, Mordecai. Day after day, he refused, not out of rebellion but conviction. And Haman noticed. His pride turned into rage. But one man's disobedience was not enough. He wanted more. He wanted vengeance, not just against Mordecai, but against all his people. Haman approached the king, with careful words and hidden intentions. "There is a people, scattered throughout your kingdom. They do not follow your laws. It is not in your interest to tolerate them." The king listened. Then, without hesitation, he agreed. A decree was written, sealed, sent across the empire on a chosen day. Every Jew, young and old, men, women, children, would be destroyed, and no one could change it. When Mordecai heard, he tore his clothes, he wore sackcloth, he wept openly in the streets, across the land. Others did the same. Fear spread, grief filled the air, inside the palace. Esther heard of Mordecai's distress. She sent word. What is wrong? When the message returned, her world shifted. Her people were marked for death. And suddenly, being queen meant something more. Mordecai sent a message back to Esther, not with comfort, but with truth. Do not think that because you are in the king's palace, you will escape. If you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. Then came the words that would echo through history. And who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther read the message again and again. Those words carried weight. This was no longer about fear. It was about purpose, about timing, about why she was here all along. Esther took a deep breath. Then she sent her reply. Go, gather all the Jews in the city. Fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My servants and I will do the same. Then I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. There it was. No more hesitation. No more fear controlling her. Only courage. Only faith. For 3 days, the city grew quiet. No feasting, no celebration, only fasting, only prayer. Men, women, children, all united in one silent cry, inside the palace. Esther waited. No food, no water, just stillness, just faith. Each hour passing and bringing her closer to the moment that could change everything, or end everything. On the 3rd day, Esther rose. She dressed in her royal robes, carefully, deliberately. Every step mattered, because this could be her last. She walked toward the inner court. Guards stood still. Servants watched. The doors opened, and there sat the king. She stepped forward, uninvited. The room grew still. This was forbidden. This was dangerous. This was life or death. The king looked up. Their eyes met. Then he extended the golden scepter. She lived. The king welcomed her. Queen Esther, or what is your request? It shall be given to you, even up to half the kingdom. But Esther didn't rush. She did not reveal everything. Instead, she said, if it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come today. To a banquet I have prepared. It was unexpected, but the king agreed. Haman was invited, and that night they dined together. Still. Esther said nothing. Not yet. Haman left the banquet, filled with pride. He felt honored, chosen, important. But then he saw Mordecai, still refusing to bow. The anger returned, burning even stronger. That night, Haman made a decision. He ordered a gallows to be built, tall, visible, meant for Mordecai. By morning, he planned to have him executed. But that same night, something unexpected happened. The king could not sleep, so he gave an order, bring the book of records. As it was read, a moment from the past surfaced. Mordecai had once saved the king's life, but he had never been rewarded. The king asked, what has been done to honor him? Nothing, they replied. Just then, Haman entered, ready to request Mordecai's execution. But before he could speak, the king asked him, what should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Haman smiled to himself. Surely, this was about him. So he described a grand reward, royal robes, a horse, public honor. Then the king said, go at once, and do all you have said. For Mordecai. Haman froze. The plan had shifted, completely. At the second banquet, the king asked again, Esther, what is your request? This time she spoke. My life, my people. We have been sold to be destroyed. The king was shaken. Who would dare do this? Esther turned and pointed. The adversary, it is this wicked man, Haman. Silence fell. The truth was out. The king's anger rose, and Haman knew. It was over. The very gallows Haman had built became his own end. The man who planned destruction was destroyed. Mordecai was lifted, given honor, given position. But the decree still remained. So a new law was issued. The Jews could defend themselves. And when the day came, they stood, they fought, they prevailed. What was meant for evil became victory. Across the land, mourning turned to joy, sorrow turned to celebration. The day meant for destruction became a day of deliverance, and it was remembered, year after year, a reminder that darkness does not always win. And so the story of Queen Esther reminds us you may not always understand where you are or why you are there, but sometimes your position, your struggle, your silence, and even your fear are all part of something greater, a moment that will come when you are called to stand, to speak, to act, and in that moment everything changes for such a time as this. If you are blessed by this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Bible Tales by Moonlight. Until next time, rest well, and remember, every story has a purpose. Good night.